are the 3 major tips that I'm going to suggest to you for breaking up with someone gently and nicely. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to also provide you a mindset shift that I think will be beneficial to you no matter how that relationship was. Whether it was a good relationship or a bad relationship, this mindset shift I think will help you tremendously. So make sure that you stay tuned to the end. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Contemporary Happiness Podcast, the podcast where we discuss the art and science of happiness in contemporary society. I'm your host, David Nima. I'm a happiness coach and a lawyer by trade. In today's episode, we're going to talk about relationships and, more importantly, how to end a romantic relationship and how to break up with somebody nicely and gently. These tips apply to breakups whether you expect to see the person again, let's say that you guys are in the same social circles, or if you never expect to see them again and you're simply going to part ways. This applies to relationships that are between 1 month and 1 year old. Anything under 1 month is not really a breakup, but I think you can still use some of these tips. And any relationship that's over a year old, the breakup may be a little bit more involved. So before we begin, why is it even important to break up with someone in a nice and gentle way? Well, the reason is because A, you want to be nice. There's a lot of feelings involved and people take breakups very personally. So I think it's important and useful and beneficial for people to be delicate when it comes to breaking up. And you don't want to be mean. You don't want to hurt other people's feelings. And you don't want to add insult to injury, for example, when you're breaking up with them and then also, saying all these mean things to them. I think you want to be nice. You want to be the bigger, better person and, do the breakup in the most gentle way that you can. Okay. You want to be compassionate when it comes to breaking up. The other reason that I think it's beneficial to have a good breakup strategy is that I think it empowers you to enter relationships and also empowers you to exit relationships. Knowing that you have the power to break up with somebody will liberate you to consider relationships that you may otherwise not have considered, because you know that you have a kind of a system that you know that you can use, you can rely on to break up the relationship if it's not working out for you. And more importantly, you see a lot of people that stay in relationships that are not good for them and they're not happy, but they're kind of stuck and they don't have the willpower to break up with the other person. And I think some of these tips might potentially help you in, gaining the confidence to be able to break up with somebody, knowing that you're going to minimize their hurt feelings as much as you can. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 1, you want to do the breakup during daytime. It's just a better time of day to do the breakup. You're going to give them time to kind of digest it. They're not going to go to sleep, with all these mixed feelings. And I think just daytime is much better than doing it at nighttime. Now, I should also say that it goes without saying that much better to break up with somebody in person. You should not be breaking up with them by text or email or any other way. If you can, and have the respect for the other person to do the breakup in person. Of course, there are some circumstances where you may not be able to get together with that person, or there might be some kind of danger involved that you just don't want to be around that person. That's totally understandable. But in most normal relationships where these kind of unique risks are not present, you want to do the breakup in person. And like I said, you want to do the breakup during the day. The person will receive it better during the day rather than giving them the news, late at night, for example. So during daylight hours is the preferred time of day to do the breakup. The next tip for breaking up nicely and gently is to do it on a full stomach. Now, the way I like to break up with people is by going out to a lunch date. If you've seen other videos of mine, I am highly against lunch dates for a first date. Of course, during your relationship, you're going to be going on lunch dates with the other person, and that's totally fine. You just don't want to have it on the first date. I think a nighttime date for the first date is a much more intimate experience. But when you're doing the breakup, go on a lunch date. That means that it's going to be probably during the day, and you're going to have some lunch. And then after lunch, on a full stomach, you want to bring up the topic that you want to break up. So Tip number 2, do it on a full stomach. Perfect time is after a nice and quick lunch date. The third tip I'm going to share with you on how to break up with someone gently and nicely is the "it's not you, it's me." This is where you have to be a little bit diplomatic when it comes to the breakup. And no matter the reason for the breakup, you want to say that it's because of you and not the other person. This is not the time to start listing off all the things that you don't like about the other person. That time has passed. If someone does something during a relationship that you don't like, my advice to you is to raise that issue immediately, talk about it, and see if you can resolve that kind of behavior. This is not the time, at the time that you've decided to break up with someone, to start telling them that I don't like, what you do for work, or I don't like your friends, or I don't like the way you dress, or I don't like the way that, you don't take me out to dinner. Whatever your grievance is, whatever your problems are with the other person, this is not the time to bring up those topics. What you want to do is focus the breakup on you and say just things like, I'm not in a good place in my life right now. I'm thinking about other things. It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me. I think that's a very good, gentle, and diplomatic way to break up with someone. Now, here's my bonus tip for a mindset shift that I think you should adopt after every single breakup. And that is, never ever badmouth your ex to other people or even in your own brain. Okay? You chose that person. You chose to enter into a relationship with that person. And while a lot of people, I think, are naturally inclined to start bad-mouthing the other person, their ex-partner, this is not the flex that you think it is. Because whatever characteristic, however you describe your ex-girlfriend or your ex-boyfriend, it's a reflection on you. You chose that person. So your best strategy is to speak highly of your ex-boyfriends and your ex-girlfriends, regardless of how the relationship was. Nobody needs to know the intimate details of why you broke up or why you chose to break up with somebody. If I'm on a date with someone and she starts telling me how bad all her ex-boyfriends were, that's going to be a huge red flag. So I highly suggest that you never badmouth your ex, and this applies to divorced couples too. Your ex is a reflection of you. So however you speak about your ex, it's a reflection on you. Your best course is to speak highly of them. And you just want to say, if someone says, well, why didn't it work out? Just want to say it just didn't work out. Creative differences, something to that effect, right? Or we were in the right place in our lives. Or, I had to focus on my studies or work or whatever. But the other person, he's a great guy. Or that girl, she's a fantastic girl. You never want to badmouth your ex. So those are my tips for how to break up with somebody nicely and gently. Once again, you want to do it during the day, not at nighttime. You want to do it on a full stomach, usually after a quick little lunch date. And third, it's not you, it's me. This is not the time to start listing off all the things that you don't like about your significant other. That time has passed. And lastly, as a bonus tip, you never want to badmouth your ex. Happy breaking up, everyone. Remember, no relationship lasts forever. So as daunting as it might sound, relationships end, whether they're 1 month long or 100 years long. And you're well advised to embrace the time that you had together, think positively when you're looking back about that relationship, and liberate yourself so that you can enter new relationships when you're ready. This is David Nima, host of the Contemporary Happiness Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe to Contemporary Happiness on YouTube, and I'll see you all in the next video.